Meeting. So it says one participant can share at a time. One participant. Okay. So this is. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is where I am saying, right? So delta is invariant if and only if delta GCX is same as GC tilde delta X, which is same as delta C of X1, C of Xn is same as C to power B of delta of X1, X2, Xn. So I have a 1 degree of freedom available with you, which is in terms of C, because it should happen for every C. So here what I do is, but C has to be positive. So I cannot choose C to be 1 upon Xn, right? Because Xn can take negative value, because you might have a support where Xn can take negative value. Since C is positive, I can take C to be 1 upon mod of Xn, right? Xn is equal to 0, I need not bother because it is a continuous distribution. So probability of Xn is equal to 0 would be 0. So I need not bother about points which have a 0 probability. So C I take as 1 upon mod Xn. If I take C to be 1 upon mod Xn, delta of X1, X2, Xn, which is this, C to power B becomes 1 upon mod of Xn to power B, which goes on this side. So that makes it delta upon mod of Xn to power B. Then delta of X1 upon mod Xn, Xn minus 1 upon mod Xn, and Xn upon mod Xn, right? So what does this says? It says delta is invariant and converse always holds, right? If delta is of this type, delta would be invariant. Why? Because you apply Cx1, Cx2, Cxn everywhere. When you apply Cx1, Cx2, Cxn, C positive, C comes outside, that becomes C to power B, mod of Xn to power B. And here, because C is positive, it will come outside and they will cancel, right? So any estimator of this type is invariant. So what I'm saying is any invariant estimator is of the type mod of Xn to power B and a function of X1 upon mod Xn, Xn minus 1 upon mod Xn, and Xn upon mod Xn. What I'm saying is X1 upon mod Xn, Xn minus 1 upon mod Xn, and Xn upon mod of Xn is a one-to-one function of X1 upon Xn, Xn minus 1 upon Xn, and Xn upon mod Xn. Why? How do you prove that f is a one-to-one function of G, right? To prove that f is a one-to-one function of G, what do you do? What do you prove? That if you know G, you can find f, and if you know f, you can find G uniquely, right? In only one manner. So suppose you knew this quantity, x1 upon mod xn, xn minus 1 upon xn, and xn upon mod xn. To prove that this is a one-to-one function of x1 upon xn, xn minus 1 upon xn, and xn upon mod xn, you have to show that if I know this quantity, then I know x1 upon xn, x2 upon xn, xn minus 1 upon xn, and xn upon mod xn, and conversely. Right? So suppose you know this. If I know this, I also know what is xn upon mod xn. If I know xn upon mod xn, what does that mean? What is the value of xn upon mod xn? It is 1 if xn is positive, minus 1 if it is negative. So if I know this, I know the sign of xn. Right? If I know all this, then I know xn upon mod xn, which is equivalent to showing that I know the sign of mod of xn. Right? Then in that case, if I know the sign of mod of xn, then this should be either x1 upon xn or x1 upon minus xn. Right? Similarly, this would be xn minus 1 upon mod of xn. And this anyway, no. So I know x1 upon xn, xn minus 1 upon xn, and xn upon mod xn. Is that okay? Now, conversely, you can look at. Conversely, if I look at, I know x1 upon xn, xn minus 1 upon xn, and xn upon mod xn. So again, here you know the sign of xn. If you know the sign of xn, then from x1 upon xn, x2 upon xn, and xn minus 1 upon xn, you can find out x1 upon mod of xn, xn minus 1 upon mod xn. It is the sign which was creating a problem. So it is a one-to-one function. So once I have said that any invariant estimator would be mod of xn to power b, and some function of x1 upon mod xn, xn minus 1 upon mod xn, and xn upon mod xn. But this itself is a one-to-one function of x1 upon xn, xn minus 1 upon xn, and xn upon mod xn. So which is equivalent saying that mod delta would, if delta is invariant, if it is mod of xn to power b and some function of x1 upon xn, x2 upon xn, xn minus 1 upon xn, and xn upon mod xn. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt? Yes?
Sir, for the squared error loss function,
Right.
where you have calculated the Jacobian, so is the Jacobian comes out to be mod of xn to the power n minus 1.
Right.
So in your video lecture, it was written as mod of xn to the power n, but in a later step, you have written it as mod of t to the power n minus 1.
Yeah, so whatever Jacobian is there, you see Jacobian, you need not bother. I might have, there may be some errors in my notes. I'm not saying that they are perfect notes because finally they are handwritten notes and there might be some error. But irrespective of what Jacobian is, in the scale case, numerator and denominator, that Jacobian would be the same and it would get cancelled, right? So whether it is mod of xn to power n or mod of, so it will be certainly mod of xn to power n minus 1, you are correct. It has to be mod of, because it is x1 upon xn, right? So it will be coming only in x1 upon xn, x2 upon xn, and xn minus 1 upon xn. So it will be coming only n minus 1 times. So Jacobian has to be mod of xn to power n minus 1. Is that okay? Yeah. You are correct. But that mod of xn to power n minus 1 gets cancelled in the numerator and denominator because the same Jacobian would be coming.
Sir.
Yes, any other doubt? So how are you finding in other courses? Everything is going well as far as online instruction is going? Other courses, things are going well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Any feedback if you have on, because as I told you right in the first lecture, these are learning experience and you are the real stakeholders. So I don't promise that any suggestions which you give would be implemented right away, but at least they can be passed on to the technical team and that may be helpful in improving the system which we have. So feel free to give your feedbacks whenever you feel that few things can be improved. You can be as critical as you want, but as long as it improves the system, I think you should be, I would encourage you to give your feedback. So if you have any feedback, how things can be improved, feel free. Your feedback should not be that there should not be any online teaching, right? So that's not feasible. Is that okay?
Sir, just a clarification. While we were considering that the transitivity g bar gx transitively on the
Transitive,
theta
right?
On the parameter space. So while we were considering the function, we have to explicitly consider the functions that belong to g bar.
Yeah,
right?
because you see, the idea is, if you recall, we had proved a result which says that if your delta is invariant, then r delta theta is same as r delta g bar theta for every g.
Yes, sir.
So that means risk at theta would be same as risk at g bar theta, right? What does that mean? That means if 2 points, any 2 points are such that they are related through some g bar, then their risk would be same.
Yes.
R theta 1 can be written as g bar theta 2. So r delta theta 1 should be same as r delta g bar theta 2. So and theta 1 is same as g. So that means the risk is same. So r delta theta 1 would be same as r delta theta 2.
Okay, sir.
So if we prove we prove the result that for any invariant estimator, R delta theta would be same as R delta G bar theta for every G. This is the one result which we proved for a general invariant estimation problem.
Mm-hmm.
That means if there are 2 points, theta 1 and theta 2, which are related through theta 1 is equal to G bar theta 2, right? Then R delta theta 1 would be same as R delta G bar theta 2.
Yes, sir.
But for any invariant decision rule delta, R delta G bar theta 2 is same as R delta theta 2. So that means if any 2 points, the parameter space are related through some G bar, then their risk would be same. Which is equivalent saying that the risk of any 2 points would be the same. Which is equivalent saying that risk is constant.
Constant.
So wherever G bar is acting transitively, risk would always be constant. Otherwise, at the best, what you can say is R delta theta would be same as R delta G bar theta. For example, in the binomial case, I cannot say that R delta theta is constant. I can only say that for any invariant estimator delta, risk at point theta, R delta theta, would be same as risk at the point 1 minus theta, R delta 1 minus. It is not constant. So I can say that risk at point 1 by 4 would be same as risk at point 3 by 4. But I cannot say that risk at point 1 by 4 would be same as risk at the point half for the invariant rule. Right? Because half and 1 by 4 are not related to 1 minus theta. But in the scale case, G bar acts transitively. Any two theta 1 and theta 2, for example, location case, any theta 1 and theta 2 can be written as theta 1 is equal to theta 2 plus theta 1 minus theta 2. Which is same as G of theta 1 minus theta 2, theta 2. So there any two theta 1, theta 2 are related through some G bar. So that means the risk of any invariant decision rule would be constant in the location case, same thing in the scale case, same thing in the affine case. And that is the reason why in the scale case, affine case, and location case, I was able to find the best invariant rule. Because risk does not depend on theta. So minimizing the risk becomes easier because you have to only minimize the constant. Binomial, it becomes difficult because your risk of every invariant estimator is not constant, it is a function.
Yes.
Minimizing that function at every theta becomes a problem. That's the reason why you are not able to find in the binomial case. Right?
Oh, okay, sir.
Yes, any other doubt you have? Yes, anybody? What, others are not going through the notes or what's the problem? So I may upload the solutions to assignment 1 by the end of this week. Assignment 2, I'll discuss. First, you try to do it of your own, and only when I find that you have tried them sincerely, I might upload the assignment. But if I'm not convinced that you have really attempted those, you are only waiting for me to upload the assignment, then I might not upload the assignments. So on Friday, I would expect that you come prepared with at least some problems on the assignment. Assignment number 2, you can discuss them. Because solving these problems of your own clarifies your doubts. Yes, any other doubts anybody has?
Sir, is the assignment 2 also needed to be submitted?
No, assignment 1 I had asked you to submit because I wanted you to get acquainted with this uploading business, because that would be required at the time of quiz 1. Because once the time is over, you have to upload it within designated time. Anybody found any difficulty in uploading the assignment number 1?
No, sir. No, sir. I didn't have any personally.
Okay. So how did you do it? You scanned it through phone or
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I scanned it through phone and then uploaded the PDF on the website.
Do the same thing in the quiz. Make sure that your quality of scan is good. If you can convert it into PDF and upload it.
Hmm.
If you're not able to upload it, then I'll use other means to evaluate you. It could be video call or through Zoom meeting. I can take an oral exam. So in case there is a network connectivity, but I hope then there should not be any issues with uploading the assignment, this quiz. It's on 23rd. Yes, any other doubt anybody has? We have some time for a quick doubt. So I have uploaded your last tutorial also. You're able to see that, right? Last tutorial I have uploaded, which I had recorded.
Yes, sir.
I'll upload today's discussion hour as well. Yes, any doubt? If you have a quick doubt, we can have. We still have 4 or 5 minutes.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, whenever our delta is invariant, we can say that our risk will be constant. Or do we need a transitive group?
No,
Or-
that's what I said. If delta is invariant, I can only say that R delta theta is same as R delta G bar theta for every G, if delta is invariant. So for example, in the binomial case, I could only say that because in binomial case, G, there were only two elements, E and G, which was n minus x. There were only two elements in G bar, which were, one was identity map and other was 1 minus theta. G bar theta is 1 minus theta. So what I can say is R delta theta is same as R delta E theta, but E theta is same as theta only. So R delta theta is same as R delta theta, or R delta theta is same as R delta G bar theta, which in the case of binomial was 1 minus theta. So in the binomial case, essentially I can only say that R delta theta is same as R delta of 1 minus theta. Right? But let us look at what I can say in the case of scale. Sorry, location. Location, I can say that R delta theta is same as R delta G bar C theta. That means R delta theta is same as R delta of theta plus C for every C, because C was anything in R. So R delta theta is same as R delta theta plus C. I can take C to be minus theta because it holds for every theta, for every C. So R delta theta is same as R delta 0.
Yes,
R
sir.
delta 0 is constant. That means it does not depend on theta.
Yes, sir.
And when I say G bar, so that means whenever G bar is acts transitively, that means any two thetas are related through some G bar, as it was happening over here, theta and theta plus C. If any theta 1 and theta 2 are related through some G bar, let us prove that risk would be constant. How do you prove it? I take any 2 points, theta 1 and theta 2, and I say that their risk is same. I take theta 1 and theta 2. Since G bar acts transitively, theta 1 would be same as G bar theta 2 for some G bar. By definition.
Hmm.
So that means R delta theta 1 would be same as R delta of G bar theta 2. But for any invariant estimated delta, R delta G bar theta 2 is same as R delta theta 2. So what you've got is R delta theta 1 is same as R delta theta 2 if G bar acts transitively. Otherwise, you can only say that R delta theta is same as R delta G bar theta. Is that clear? I hope.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think I would end the discussion here. We can meet on Friday with the problems in assignment number 2. Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Sir.